everyone, and thanks for joining us today. My name is Alice, and I will be your host. Please note that we cannot hear you as you are on mute. If you have any questions during the presentation, please use the chat window. This presentation will last about 30 minutes. Once it's completed, we will address any questions during our open Q&A session. So I would like to introduce today's speakers. Victorien Gumo, our GSX Solutions Asia Channel Manager, who will be introducing today's challenges when it comes to migrating from a notes environment to an exchange environment. And then Christian Kessler, a PAC pre-sales manager at Net.Work, will be introducing the company and explaining how the MK tool can help you overcome these critical points. He will also give a short demonstration of the solution. Victorien will then finish by introducing GSX Solutions and giving information on our solution and company. We will end this presentation with a Q&A session. So let's begin. Victorien, please.
Yeah, hello everyone. Thanks for joining this webinar. So today we are going to talk about migration. And so I'm going to first explain you what are the main pain points linked to migration from notes to exchange. So the first one is certainly the large amount of data to be migrated, because in large project company, in large scale company, you need to often migrate a lot of mailboxes, a lot of applications, a lot of servers and stuff. So this is certainly one of the main major pain points when dealing with migration. The second very thing is the saturated network. Because you are going to migrate things from one environment to another, you will need to increase the network bandwidth. So for this, you will need to identify where and how much you will need to increase. So this will be as well something GSX and MK will address. Third things we identified will be the performance. When you migrate from one environment to another, you want to make sure that the performance remains the same for the end users, especially. So this is something as well GSX will address along with MK. And the last thing, obviously, as for any project, will be to respect the time and the costs you allocate for this project. So as well, our tools will aim to help in that direction. So what's for planning a successful migration? So the very first thing is obviously to identify the key resources to migrate and eliminate unused ones. So you need to identify what are the fan mailboxes, for example, or if you migrate some application, notes application, you will need to identify which ones are not very used and you don't need to migrate. The less data you migrate, the better it is, obviously. Then as discussed in the pain points, you will need to identify which locations you will need to increase your bandwidth, the network itself. So this is as well something you need to plan before the migration to not have bad surprises. Another key thing will be to do test users migration. Because obviously, even if it's on a short scale, small scale project, you need absolutely to make some tests. First, to validate the solution you are going to use, and as well to identify some obstacles or pain points you can face. So very important to do this before planning a full migration. You need to monitor the level of service. Very important, because you have some users who are not really happy suddenly to migrate from nodes to exchange, and you need to make sure that the level of service that you are providing to them remains the same. So you need to have some KPIs, some indicators that will tell you, okay, how long it takes to connect your malware to send an email, and those metrics need to remain the same from nodes to exchange. Absolutely important. So really, you need to baseline your environment with some KPI and make sure that they are met from one environment to another. And the last point we raised in this presentation will be to have reporting on the health of your environment, as well as to adopt a drill-down analysis to check what are the potential risks and areas that are going to bring you some more attention. So very important to plan a success. So how could you say, okay, my migration has been successfully managed and seamless? So obviously you can ask the end users, are they satisfied? Because the migration obviously are dedicated and to the end users. So are they satisfied of the performance while having notes to exchange? How many support calls is a key indicator as well. Do you have more calls than before or less? This can be as well something you need to check. Do you track the performance of the end users? So do you have some scenarios running on your environment to identify a couple of tests that are very important for the end users? And obviously, as any project, you need to check if the schedule and the budget has been respected correctly. So this is the kind of introduction we will do on the migration from Notes to Exchange. And now I will let Christian speak about first MK and as well what solutions they offer on a pre-migration and post-migration.
Yeah, thanks very much, Victoria. My name is Christian Kessler. I'm the pre-sales manager of MK Net.Work for the APAC region. Thanks very much for attending this webinar. So let's just start. So few words about MK Net.Work, software company created in 1996, focused on optimization for messaging and collaboration platforms. Customer all over the world, customer of all sizes, including the largest Exchange, Outlook, and Notes, IBM Notes customers. Significant numbers of licenses sold and in operation each day in almost every country in the world. We develop software for of course, the Microsoft environment, Exchange, Outlook, OWA, Lync, SharePoint, including Office 365, OneDrive, and for the IBM platforms, Domino, Notes, iNotes, and Connections. Our portfolio includes server and client software. All of these programs are modular. They can be used on demand to cover our customer needs. They are independent ones from the others. So really a modular offer. And in terms of name, Zipmail is the name of the product lines for the messaging platforms. And The Optimizer is the name of our product line for the collaboration platforms like SharePoint and Lync. So we are mainly focused on optimization. What do we mean by optimization? In fact, we mean volume reduction. If you look at...
I'm sorry to interrupt you. We do not see your screen. Maybe you could just put the presentation on your desktop?
Yes, oh, sorry. It is... I'm full screen here. Let's see. Just one sec. It will be better like that.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, sorry for that. No, that's... Okay. So, optimization, what do we mean? In fact, mainly volume reduction. And when we speak about volume in messaging environments or collaboration environments, we mainly are talking about files, attached files, uploaded files, etc. Attached files are the most significant part of your traffic and storage. Let's take IBM Notes. You can easily imagine that sending a 2 or 3 megabyte attached files exceeds the size of a few emails not containing attached files. So the attached file counts for generally more than 90% of your messaging and collaboration traffic and storage. And the purpose of our software is to make these files smaller. So in order to free up some resources. So the benefit of making your email traffic and storage smaller, easy to understand. Network bandwidth, storage, CPU and I/O, time it takes to process the messaging flow are reduced. Performance improvement, operating cost reductions, reduction of planned investment in terms of infrastructures like new storage base or new network links or increased bandwidth, etc. And sometimes it helps making things doable that will be difficult to implement otherwise, like maybe server consolidation or the need to host more users on existing infrastructure. So what about the results? Maybe before talking about results, what do we do with the attached files? In fact, we do different things based on the type of the files. With the most common files exchanged in your messaging and collaboration platform, like Microsoft Office file, DocX, PPTX, XLSX files, and OpenOffice files, we do what we call native XML optimization. It means basically we make these files smaller without changing the type of the files. So at the end of the optimization process, your DocX is still a DocX file made smaller. And depending on the content, or much smaller, it can go from 20 to 90% smaller. Results are sometimes very impressive. With image files like JPG, PNG, etc., we also do native optimization. It means after the file has been processed by our software, the image file is still an image file made smaller by Zipmail, for instance. And visually, there are no difference. Like for the XML files, you can open side by side. We'll do that in the demo. The original file and the native file, and you will see no difference. With the other files, than XML file and image files that cannot be natively optimized, we can zip compress them to reduce their size. And in terms of results, here are a few examples. With XML files, each time you will see different display screenshots with two emails, one email without Zipmail and one email with Zipmail and the corresponding size here. So here with these two XML files, PPTX and DocX, the original files were in the 37 megabytes, and if optimized by Zipmail, they are only 13 megabytes. With these image files, you have kind of similar ratios, 12 megabytes without Zipmail and 4 or 5 megabytes with Zipmail. And with the old Microsoft Office file like doc files or XLS files or log files, etc., these times they are compressed into zip file. You can see here the zip extension. And depending on the content, it can be still more impressive. Here it goes from 27 megabytes to a little bit more than 1 megabyte. This is probably because of this very big log file that is highly compressible. The key point here to notice is that for the user or for the recipients of this email, you see here they still receive a JPG file or a doc.docx file, or at worst a .zip file that can be opened natively by most of the operating system these days. So a couple of key points. When we talk about native optimization, it's something that is absolutely out of the scope of any network compression or network compression appliance. Network compression or network compression appliance are kind of zip-like native, zip-like compression of the of the files at best injected in the network pipe. What we do here is working from the inside of the file. So even if you have a network compression appliance, you will still get benefits on the network by using our products. And it is also out of the scope of, for instance, the IBM Notes LZ1 compression that delivers no volume reduction on XML and image attached files for the same reason as the one explained for the network compression appliance. Technically speaking, if you plan to do tests, it's interesting to compare the real size of the files, for instance, in the Domino server, if you use Deos in the Deos repository where the files are stored. So here, a couple of screenshots or slides to confirm the savings displayed in the previous screen are really for real when measured on disk by measuring the real size of the attachment as stored on the Domino server. First test, the old doc PPT XLS files and some log and TXT files. And here you have the ratio. So here, compared to LZ1, Zipmail doubles the savings. And in fact, items are 2 times or a little bit more than 2 times smaller than what LZ1 is able to deliver. With the actual Microsoft Office files, there is no question because LZ1, as we can see here, is not able to deliver any savings on these files for the reason that these files are already compressed. So LZ1 is the same compression and cannot deliver anything, while Zipmail is able to deliver 65% savings on these files in terms of volume reduction. So you start from initially 37 megabytes, and at the end you get 13 megabytes, thanks to Zipmail. With the image files, it is the same kind of ratio, and here again, LZ1 is not able to deliver any savings on GPG files, for instance. And with the GPG files, we can still improve the level of savings by applying optional redimensioning of the images, and in this case, you can go, if you accept the maximum image dimensions set to HD, something like 1920 by 1080, you can go up to 97% savings on some large images. So a quick demo just to illustrate this concept. And let's have a quick look at a Notes client and on a computer on which Zipmail client has been installed. So the good point is that there is almost nothing to see, so the demo will be very quick. Here we have some files. We have an opened email. And let's just drag and drop some files to attach them to our email. Here we have configured the product to display a comment and these little windows. Of course, this is optional and mainly for the purpose of the demonstration. In the real world, customers generally don't display that. But with this image, Zipmail has reduced the size of this file by 65%. And we saved 4 megabytes on 6.3 megabytes. The good point is that if you open this image, and if you display it, and if you open the original image, and if you display it, you're not able to see any difference. And let's try to display it full screen, this one, and full screen this one, and to switch from the one to the other. And as you can see, there is no blink, there is nothing that can be noticed. So here you just saved 4 megabytes on these 6 megabyte files for a result that is the same as what you would have obtained with the original file. With PPTX and DocX file, it is the exact same concept. So let's take a PowerPoint presentation. Here we have additional options like PDF conversion, but it's not really the topic of the demo, so we'll keep the basic optimization. Zipmail optimized the PPTX file, then it attached it, and here we saved 72%. So we saved 5 megabytes, more than 5 megabytes on 7 megabytes. And here again, for the exact same result in terms of content, with no visual difference between the optimized file and the original file. So for the users for the sender or the creator of the email, as you can see, there is no action to take. If you prefer to attach file using the paperclip button, you may notice a couple of checkboxes that can be optionally displayed or not. Everything is configurable. And here you do exactly as usual. Select your file, click validate the dialog, and that's it. So no user education is required. And as soon as the product is installed, it's a single DLL installed in the Notes program, client program folder. It starts delivering results. So for a single user, well, this could look not very important, but in the kind of organization of Notes organization you manage, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of users attaching files all day long, this makes absolutely a huge difference in terms of the need for the resources required to operate your organization. It means if you agree that the files are the most important part of your email traffic and storage, this is 65% less in terms of storage needs, network bandwidth needs. It is 65% more in terms of performance, reactivity, agility of your organization, and this makes a huge difference. And of course, to conclude with the topic of the migration, that was the initial topic of this presentation. The typical pain points attached to any messaging and collaboration organization, like very large amount of data stored, always increasing, or saturated network, persistent needs for network bandwidth increases, poor level of performance, operation costs, user frustration, slow backup and restore operations, are still more critical when you do migrate from one environment to another. For two reasons. First, you have to transfer all that stuff, so probably it would be better if this stuff was 60%, 40%, 50%, well, smaller, to make your migration easier. And second, you're moving to a new environment, so you don't know this environment. You don't have the same expertise that the one you accumulated during years on your original environment. So your interest is certainly to do everything possible to prepare a smooth migration and to avoid the problems you have solved in your previous environments during all these years to reappear in your new migrated environment. And typically, for the migration from Notes Domino to Exchange Outlook, there are a couple of points that are interesting to notice. The first point is that the DEOS, the deduplication of the attached files that you are used to set up now in Domino for years, is not available in Exchange. So it means that in Exchange, when you send an email to 10 users, even on the same server, you get 10 copies, 10 physical copies of the email and of its attached files. This makes a huge difference in terms of storage needs. And the second point is that there is no equivalent of the LZ1 compression in the Microsoft Exchange environment. As we've seen, the LZ1 compression is quite is something that is more of the past, but it's still better than nothing for all of the old files like TXT log files or doc files, etc. Even if it is of no use for the modern XML and image files, there is no such compression in the Microsoft Exchange environment. So no DEOS, no LZ1 compression. You will move to an environment that is a little bit more resource consuming, and so this is an additional reason to maybe have a look at our solution to smoothen your migration and make your operation a little bit easier in your migrated environment. Of course, if you have any question, you're welcome. You will find additional information on our website like zipmail.com or mkey.network.com. Thanks very much for your attention, and I pass back the control to Victoria now.
Thanks, Christian. Very interesting, and it shows that we definitely need this kind of solution for any messaging environment. Even if the topic today is on a migration, it makes sense at any point of time to have this kind of solution to compress the data. So let me just give you a quick overview on GSX for those who are not familiar with. Here we are. So we are now almost 20 years old company. So the headquarters is in Switzerland, but we have some offices in all over the world, including China, where I'm located now, and we are opening a new one in Bangalore as well, certainly at the end of the year. So we do work a lot with indirect channel, and in more than 40 countries, we have 600 customers. If you map our customers, most of them are large account companies. So what we claim as large is more than 5,000 or 10,000 mailboxes in the company. And we are working with a lot of banks, manufacturing company, consulting and IT services, as well as healthcare. So today, GSX is more than 6 million mailbox monitors. And this is what environment we monitor. So IBM, we come from that world 20 years ago. So IBM Domino, Quicker, Same Time, Traveler. But since 5 years, let's say, we started to work on the Microsoft technology, and we are quite successful on this. And so now we do monitor Massive Exchange, SharePoint, Link, as well as we still have a lot of customers running BlackBerry, so we have a solution for it. So what makes us really particular is that we are fully agentless. So this is certainly why we are able to work with a lot of banks. Agentless means no problem on the servers, resources, no drop of performances, very important, and less security constraints. Second very important thing is that we are not only, or not at all, a system monitoring tool, but we are a service monitoring tool. So we check the user experience. So by making end-to-end tests, how long it takes to connect to a mailbox, how long it takes to synchronize my device with my mailbox. A lot of tests like this that we can go into in more detail if you want to have a demonstration. Another good thing is that we are able to be integrated to any system solution you have in place already. So whether it is COM on the Microsoft or HP OpenView, Tivoli, or any other solution on the IBM. So we can plug GSX, and GSX will act as a management pack. So very important. And another really good aspect as regards the reporting is the possibility to have automatic reports on size, performance, usage, have SLA in place and manage them with what we call GSX Analyzer. So this is a very good strength on our side because most of the tools I mentioned before on the system, they have a couple of features on the monitoring, but not at all on the reporting. So this is why we have a lot of companies coming to us for this. So this is our certifications. We are Microsoft partner, BlackBerry Alliance Elite member. We recently received good awards from the community in the TechEd, as well as on msexchange.org. We are really close to Microsoft. This is something important to say because we are part of the TAP program, Technology and Partner Program, which means that our solution is developed according to Microsoft needs, likes, and gaps. So this is very important as well to highlight this. We are very close to Microsoft. A couple of preferences, so you can see from many industries, banks, insurance, as well as IT service company like Atos, Orange Business Services. We do work with Infosys, CSC, and a couple of others. Dimension Data as well. And this is coming back to our initial problematic. So to sum up, why we are really useful to have a successful migration is that first, GSX is going to do some end-to-end tests, end-to-end scenarios. So we are able to ensure that from one environment to another, we will be able to get the same performances for the end users. Something important when dealing with monitoring, and especially with agentless monitoring, is the possibility to be proactive. So GSX is no more than a user doing a lot of tests and letting you before a real user is going to come to you and complain. So we have some robot users doing end user action, job actions, and alerting you before a real physical user is going to come to your office and complain. Another good thing is user focus reports. So again, this is for the performances that they are facing. And other couple of reports, audit reports. You want to have on one click all the mailboxes and all the characteristics of the mailboxes or all the devices. Instead of running a lot of scripts, GSX provides these kind of reports that you can as well configure on your own. And so just to conclude, keeping the problematic in mind, when you are going to deal with migration, you are going to decide whether you are doing full cloud, maybe Office 365, hybrid, so you have both on-premise and cloud, or a fully on-premise. So you need to get the choice, and GSX and MK are going to perform tests and to monitor and as well to optimize your environment on any environment. So this is quite interesting to highlight. Simplicity. So how I can easily manage all of the choices. So again, this is you can make some tests. So GSX will give you an out-of-the-box solution, which is going to have the control over indicators, and again, MK is going to be here to optimize the data you are going to migrate. So you want to make sure that the end user satisfaction is still here. So again, GSX will do the job by being proactive and making sure that you have the same level of service from one environment to another. And cost. So MK and GSX you can get an ROI instantaneously. So by the resources that are going to focus on more specific actions, maybe more value-added actions, and as well by optimizing the data, you will save on disk and then on money. So this is a couple of benefits you can have GSX and MK. So obviously, we are at your disposal if you have any questions. If you want to have any demonstration, so as well, so we do GSX, but as well we are promoting MK solutions in the APAC market. So do not hesitate if you have any question on this regard. and let's organize some one-on-one demonstration or evaluation. We have some trial versions we can get for 30 days, and obviously we can extend if needed. And we have always a tech sale, which is going to go along with you, ask you some questions, implement everything, and make sure you can test in good conditions our product. Thank you very much, everyone, to listen to us, and hopefully we can talk to you very soon.
Okay, thank you, Victorian. So now it's time for our Q&A sessions, and we have received quite a few questions. So first question, which are exactly your software solutions for IBM Notes, and where do they install server and client? How do they work? Christian, maybe you want to help us on this?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Thanks very much, Alice. Well, in fact, for IBM and Notes, we have a different solution. We can implement the features you have seen in the demo, so optimization, compression, on the client side, as we have seen there in the demo on the Notes client. We can also do the same with iNotes through Internet Explorer, so through a program that is an add-in to Microsoft Internet Explorer. And with this solution, as you've seen, the job is done on the client before the attached file even reaches the target email. So it's at the time the user selects the files are optimized, and then attached to the email, and then Zipmail has finished its job. So it's a very clean and neat implementation because it's very focused at only one single moment in the life cycle of the attached files, and all the work is done outside the environment of the email client before the file is attached to the email. So there is no compatibility issue with any further processing like antivirus, content filtering, etc., simply because at the time this processes occurs, Zipmail is not here anymore. So that's for the client side. And we can do the same job on the server side in two different manners. The first one is with a program named Zipmail for Domino databases. And this one is a batch program available under the form of a load Zipmail command in the console of your Domino servers. And with this program, you are able to process your existing databases. So if you have terabytes and terabytes of existing Notes databases full of attached files, generally, we can do the same job on each of the emails containing attached files in these databases. So this is generally a great help in terms of pre-migration duty, because it helps making your databases smaller before migrating them, making the migration easier. Of course, everything is preserved inside the documents that are processed, like the time and dates of the documents. Well, for the users, there are no changes. The only thing is they see smaller attached files. And we have another server solution named Zipmail Real-Time that still does the same optimization and compression job, but this time in real time on the emails routed by your servers. So once installed on a Domino server, when an email arrives on the server, if it contains attached files that can be optimized, the attached files are processed, and then the email is released. And this occurs in real time. You can, between quote, monitor, I don't want to offend GSX on the term monitor, you can display the cumulated results in real time on the workstation or on the server through a window that is refreshed dynamically. So this is generally very impressive to see the real-time savings accumulating each few seconds. And these solutions are complementary. It means, of course, from a technical point of view, ideally, the client solutions are the best because you deal with the volume issue before it reaches your Notes infrastructure or environment. Files are made smaller before they are attached. But if you have a lot of existing databases and significant amount of existing storage in nodes, of course, the Zipmail for Domino database is a good solution to recover a lot of disk space in batch. It can be scheduled. There are many parameters, so it's very flexible, and it's configured really in a couple of, well, let's say 3 or 4 minutes. And then you can schedule it using a standard Domino server program document. And the real-time version, even if you have the client version installed, can still be interesting to handle all of your incoming email traffic, the email traffic that comes from the internet or from your SMTP gateways, etc., from your partners not having yet a Zipmail client installed. And then there is a way to handle this email traffic and to make it smaller. And at some of our largest customers, concentrating their SMTP inputs through a few servers, it is really gigabytes and gigabytes of storage saved each day, and it's very impressive. And here again, it's installed in a couple of minutes. There are interactive applications to configure the parameters, and once you are okay, you restart your server, and Zipmail real-time start delivering. Good point with all of these products that once they are installed, you forget about them. Users don't see the products, don't have to interact with them. So this is basically what we have to offer in the Notes and Domino environment. We have similar programs in the Microsoft Outlook and Exchange environment, and also programs that translate similar concepts in SharePoint as well.
Okay, thank you, Christian. We have another question here. We are migrating to the cloud. Why would we still care about optimization given the vast amount of storage space made available at very low cost?
Yes, very interesting question, and a question that these days makes sense. Well, basically, trying to manage to keep your global amount of data as small as possible is always a benefit. It starts being a benefit before the migration, of course, but when you move to the cloud, there is a new problematic that appears. It is the bandwidth. Because if I'm in the same office than Alice, once my companies move everything to the cloud, if I want to send her a 20 megabyte document, it has to go out through the cloud and then back to the Alice computer. So it makes 40 megabytes of bandwidth consumed just to send a file to my colleague that stands 2.5 meters beside me or in front of me. So migration to the cloud, major issue then is the incredible growing need for bandwidth. So if you can reduce your email traffic by, let's say, anything between 40 to 60%, that will be very good and very helpful for your migration to the cloud. Then next, even if in the marketing documents it seems there are no limits anymore in terms of the amount of volume you can consume based on the price of the initial contract, I think it is always your interest to keep things as small as possible, because as in time, the global amount of your data stored in the cloud will grow. You will reach the limits of your initial contracts. And in most of the cloud contracts, what happens after these limits are reached is not clearly defined, neither in terms of feasibility or costs. And it's a lot of doubt and uncertainty when these limits are reached. Even if this limit appears to be far away from us, at the time you start your cloud migration process, you can be sure that they will be reached sooner than expected. So I guess it is always your interest in terms of commercial relations with your cloud business partner to keep your global amount of data as low as possible, even if apparently today the limits are far away from us. And then, of course, next, in terms of performance, it's always good to exchange files. Would it be in Domino, Notes, SharePoint, Exchange, Link 2 times faster? It saves your time. It's release user frustrations. You do not consume the bandwidth that is also used by interactive applications, etc. So there, clouds does not change fundamentally the parameters of the equation if you really think about it.
Okay, thank you, Christian. So thank you. We are just over time with this webinar. So if we did not get the chance to answer all your questions, that we'll get back to you in the near future. So thank you everyone for attending today's webinar. Net.Work evaluation is about to show up on your browser. Please take a moment to provide us with your feedback. And thanks again to everyone and have a nice day. Florian, and thanks.